And this morning we're on the line with Kirk Atwood, the principal at the United Area High School, joining us here this morning for the final time. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. I make that sound very dire, Kirk, but it's because you are going to be moving on to another job in Erie County. So this is our final visit together. I know that saddens me. Probably makes you pretty glad, though, huh?
Well, no, I've actually enjoyed our time together. I know I've joked with you about, always looking forward to them with a little sarcastic tone, but I actually have. This has been a great time. It's great to be able to connect with our community in this way, and I've really appreciated the opportunity to do this.
Well, let's reflect a little bit. You joined the United School District when?
January of 2019 is when I got here.
Mm-hmm. And in that time, of course, that's a relatively short time in terms of employment durability. But in that time at United, I'm sure that you've noted that you went through a pandemic relatively early in your term, and so it sort of colors everything about your time there at United, doesn't it?
It does in a way. I mean, I came in, though, in that January, and so I got to do the whole spring semester of the 2018-19 school year here. And so that was just traditional regular school year, and it was a great opportunity to see how things worked and how things went. And then we really got most of the school year in the next year before the pandemic hit, too. And so, I think I got a good handle on what United's about, and it's truly a great place.
It really is, and the folks there are just wonderful people, and I'm sure that you've experienced that, and you've locked away some memories that are going to be with you for a very, very long time. But in terms of what it did for you and where you're going next, I'm sure there are some lessons that you've learned through the pandemic and through just the normal everyday activities at United that you can use in your profession.
Oh, absolutely. There were great things happening when I got here. I walked into some improving scores in some certain areas, and the way that they were doing some of their remediation type activities to help students that were maybe on the bubble as far as achievement went, and those are all things that are going to go with me when I leave here that I learned from this place, and I'm grateful for the opportunity for sure.
Now, having been there at United for these last couple of years and having experienced what it's like on this level. Indiana County is such a rural district. Erie County is not nearly as rural as Indiana County is. But really, in terms of educational values, is it basically the same no matter where you go?
Well, every district has the things they're doing great, and every district has the things they're working on. And that doesn't matter if you're talking urban or rural. Every district is doing the same thing, and that's we're trying to educate kids. And get them to their greatest achievement, and so that's not going to change at all. There are certainly going to be other changes. I'm going to a much larger district for sure, so that's going to be a big change. I'm used to the small community where I have about 450 kids in my building every day, 7 through 12, and I'm going to have more than that in the single grade that I'm going to be working with in my new district. So there's certainly going to be some learning adjustments.
What are some of the programs that you've worked in at United that you think are particularly valuable or that particularly impress you?
I think the thing that we have going right now that is just outstanding is our social and emotional learning program, and we've talked about that here before. The idea that we're teaching all of our students how to basically just become more resilient, because the world's going to throw you curveballs every day of your life. And so just being able to be resilient and to take those things and move forward and do the best you can for yourself and those around you, I think that is the thing that absolutely stands out the most to me about this district and where we've grown over the last several years.
If we were to walk in on young Kirk Atwood, the student back when he was in school, and show him what education is like in the year 2021, I'm sure that he would be shocked and maybe deny that could ever happen. But it does change, doesn't it? The ways in which we educate children today are much, much different from when you and I went to school, and the methods just keep improving. And I think it's best to focus upon those improvements because it's really easy to turn negative when there's so much positive happening.
Oh, for sure, and that's one of the things that I've taken, even with this pandemic and everything we've done, and the changes that we've had to make because of it, and so many of them are good for students and things that we really should have been able to do before, and our eyes got open to them. a little bit more because of the pandemic. And the thing, again, just thinking here at United, the thing that jumps out the most is our one-to-one initiative. We were not one-to-one before the pandemic hit. We had a plan for how to get there. But whenever the pandemic hit, we said, we got to do this now. And it forced us to go one-to-one. So, yeah, young Kirk Atwood in a classroom at Katanning High School would have had no idea that a student would be able to sit down with their own laptop or Chromebook and get all their materials on Google Classroom and be able to submit everything right there and have paperless classrooms and things like that. That was definitely not a thing. But it's great for our students because, again, they live in this world of technology that we as adults, we're familiar with, but they're just it's so ingrained in how they live every day. And so for us to be able to meet them there is so important, and that's another thing that we've done here that's so great is getting to this one-to-one place in the whole district that all of our students, K through 12, have access to technology and use it every day.
I think that's one of the important things to realize about education today is that because of how quickly things came about in terms of technological advancements, many of the people who are teaching our youngsters are themselves learning the technologies on which they are teaching those youngsters, and there can be some car wrecks in there. There can be some real difficulties, and it takes some folks who are really determined and resilient to fight their way through that.
It does, and that's one of the interesting things about education is we've traditionally had this concept in our heads of veteran teachers, people that have been in the classroom for 25, 30 years. They're the ones that we send our younger teachers to for support and to learn how to do things, and we still do that for sure because they have the tools for classroom management and different things like that and how to do different lectures and different assignments within the classroom. But we're also finding now it's just as beneficial to send those folks to these younger kids that are just getting out of school and coming into the classroom as teachers because they have the tools now with the technology and those things. So it's really interesting that teaching as a profession, we're finding, how much interaction we need between our teachers. And so many times classrooms have just become a teacher's little kingdom, and that's their area, and they try to keep everyone else out. And we're really trying to break that mold and saying, look, we want everybody to work together and learn from one another because these young kids coming out of colleges have so much to offer to veteran teachers now.
Yeah, it does seem to come so naturally to young folks who've been doing this all their lives, and whereas others are having to adapt after spending their lifetime in their little fiefdom. Let's talk about what's happening at United these days. Since we last spoke with you, of course, there's a whole month's worth of school that is in now, and you're moving past that, and you're probably into your second 6 weeks. So what are things like at United right now?
Well, our theme for this year is still, we're just trying to get as much back to normal as we can. Things are going well. We've started up field trips. We didn't have a lot of those last year. We know our junior high went to Shanksville to see the Flight 93 Memorial. We've had our juniors were at a career fair here a week or two ago. We sent a group of kids to Miller Fabrication in order to do an employment tour. So we're really just really pushing that vibe. We're trying to get back to normal, and it looks a little bit different still. We're still masked. We're still doing those things, but we're trying to get everything back to the way it used to be.
I'm interested in what you just said about going to Shanksville. Did you get a chance to go with them?
I did not. No, we had about 7 or 8 of our teachers that did go with them. I was stuck here in the building though. We have in our junior high, we have a teacher, Amy Shellhammer, who does a great job with really promoting 9/11 awareness and remembrance with our students. She's a social studies teacher, so that kind of falls into her purview over there, and she does a really great job with that. And they did a chain link out in front of our building on 9/11 this year, where they had the roughly 3,000 links in a chain, and all of our junior high students went out and held those just to recognize what that number is and how great of a loss that was. Because the reality is these kids weren't around then. It's strange to think about, but we don't have a single student in our building who was alive on 9/11. They've all been born after that. And so, it was a great opportunity there, and then to parlay that into this field trip where they actually got to go and view the memorial and things like that was just a great tie-in.
What did you hear about how they reacted to it emotionally? That is probably as moving an experience as probably some of them have ever had.
Yeah, for sure, and especially when they were doing those chain links, and recognizing that each one of those represented a human life, and there were many students who were moved by that, and then to see the location as well. The teachers relayed to me that it all came together for them. It made it a real event because, like I said, they weren't around for it. So for them, it's a historical event, which is so crazy for us that we're here to think about. For us, it was so personal. We all went through something that day, and for these students, it's history. And so for them to be able to make that personal connection and get that emotional response from the students was great.
Yeah. Okay. So as we look at the next 6 weeks and head through the rest of, I don't know who I'm talking with next month. That's one thing. We'll have to figure that out between now and then. But
I'll make sure I get that for you before I go.
What's on the educational horizon for the rest of this semester as we head toward rapidly toward November and then December coming up very quickly?
Yeah, so we're geared up for our keystones. There's always something we have on the horizon. Those will be coming up first week of December. So we've been doing some benchmark testing and working with that data that the teachers are getting out of where the students are and what deficits we still need to make up for the time that we were off. Really, we were here all last year, but that semester, that half of a semester lost the year before that. We're still working on those deficits, but we've seen great growth, and we're seeing good information in our CDTs that we have, so we're gearing up for that. That those teachers are working hard in those tested areas to get the students up to speed. We're coming up on the end of our semester. We're excited. We actually just got our technology education instructor in. We had hired him over the summer, but with the 60-day hold that happens in Pennsylvania. So Mr. Kuster just got here yesterday, so we're excited to get back to some more hands-on instruction in our tech ed program in the next 9 weeks, and we're just excited to move forward.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Kirk, it has been a pleasure working with you over the course of however long this has been that we've been doing this, and I appreciate it. You are more than welcome to come back and visit with us from whatever angle, and maybe once you get up to Erie County, we can talk with you someday again.
That would be great.
I appreciate your time today. Have a great day today.
You too. Thanks, Doug.